Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of No Holding Back, the podcast with me, your girl, Taylor T. This is a podcast where we spotlight the highs and lows that creatives face on their journey to success. And today I had the awesome opportunity to turn the mic on my friend. Y'all saw her turn the mic on me in the first episode, but today I got to interview my good friend and branding expert and marketing expert, Simone Hunter. And the goal behind her interview is I really want creatives to understand that when you are building a business and you're early in your entrepreneurship journey, it's very important to not just do good work, but to also just be a good human and to build relationships, because that's what's really going to keep your clients around. And let me tell you something about Simone. Her clients have been on her roster for years. She has one client that she's had since she first created her business, and she's been through a whole new set of branding and a new name. So that is a testament to her and her ability to build relationships and keep her clients around, which is something that creatives like you definitely need. So let's get to it. Here is another episode of No Holding Back. Okay, well, Simone.
Hi, sister.
Yes, I am so happy to have you on. Now, you are familiar for the audience, but only because you interviewed me.
Yes.
For my first interview. I think that was actually the first time someone has interviewed me in that format.
I love
so
that.
Kudos to you for, I guess, popping my cherry with that one. But I'm so happy to have you on No Holding Back, because I feel like you add so much value in the space of how creatives can turn their ideas and their creativity into an actual profitable business.
Yes.
With long-standing clientele. But I'll get into that a little bit later. But, for the people who don't know who Simone is, and I know who you are, my dear friend, but how would you describe yourself? Introduce yourself to that audience.
My name is Simone Hunter. I am a brand strategist and creative lead for On Brand Creative Agency, which is my agency where I work with entrepreneurs and small business owners to help them elevate their digital and online presence.
Yes.
So that's what I do. And yeah.
Awesome. So growing up for Simone, what did she love to do?
Honestly, I was one of those type of people that were always in everything. So, I did a million extracurricular activities. Growing up, I was always had my hands in something. I always attribute that to, I always had, my hands in my hair, playing in my hair, doing things like that. Just always in some type of group activity, which is why I feel like I'm so social now. That was what I was doing growing up,
Yeah. So you are someone who is a storyteller and branding person. How do you think those things or your interests showed up in the early parts of your life to now? I know you just said community, which we're going to get into, and that's actually a fun fact that I didn't know.
Oh yeah, girl.
So
always in
yeah.
something.
So were there any things that showed up in your childhood that kind of make sense for you now to be a storyteller and somebody who works in branding?
Yeah, when I think about it, so my mom actually had a marketing consulting agency. It was called Hunter Consulting Group growing
Why
up.
did I not know this?
Yes, girl. She had it for 10 years. And I always think where did I get my entrepreneurial push? But it actually came from both of my parents. So she had her consulting group. My dad, he also was a personal trainer. He had a bunch of little businesses that he had growing up. So it's in me, girl. It's in me.
No wonder you're able to just hold yourself in specific settings, and you just know what to do and you know how to create a business. It's always been in you.
Yeah, it's always been in me. And I didn't realize that until I was doing some article. I think it was the Bold Journey article. And so it was one of those questions that asked something similar. And I'm like, where did that push come from? But it literally came from my parents.
Wow. So you weren't always an entrepreneur, though.
No.
That's something that showed up for you later in your career. So what did you go to school for? What did you study? And what was your first job out of college?
Okay. So I went to the Hampton University.
Okay.
Yeah, I know I had to throw that in there because my girl is a HU girl.
Yeah.
So. But went to Hampton. I originally went to Hampton for broadcast journalism. Quickly found out that I didn't necessarily love being in front of the camera. And which is so funny now because it's I'm in front of the camera most of the time.
Yeah,
now.
that's all of your content on your business page.
I know. that's ironic, but went for broadcast journalism and then switched to strategic communications, and then I minored in marketing. And so I was also the internship girl. So I used to have internships everywhere within the field.
She got her experience early.
I did. And that's something I always tell like younger folks, like get them internships because those matter. But my first job out of school, well, I did not get a job immediately.
Okay.
So I went 8 months. I was working retail, and then I got hired at Children's National in DC, in their PR department. And so with that, I was doing PR, and I found out, okay, I don't necessarily love this, but I was super grateful for the opportunity to get my footing there. I learned a bunch there, and then I kind of switched over to their social media team. And so it was me and another girl, and we ran their social media channels, and that's how I got my footing into social media. And then also working with the marketing team, figuring out that whole brand side. And the hospital at that time was in the midst of like doing like some rebranding with their like logo and updating their signage and things like that. So I got to get a little bit of that, and so that really got me interested in the space. From there, I went off into, I think this was at the top of 2020, right before the pandemic hit.
It's something about 2020 that just really set up life for everybody in a different way.
Absolutely.
But go ahead.
So I was at church, and somebody had asked like if somebody could help with like marketing, and this is actually my very first client that I met at church.
Okay, church.
Yes, come through. And so was there, got my very first client. Her, shout out to Quintina, that's my girl.
That is still a long-standing.
Still
that's
my
Quintina.
client now. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay, this is bringing it home even more for me. But keep going.
Yes. So that was my very first client. Met her at church, and then I had already knew I wanted to kind of start my own thing, but because she needed help right then and there, I'm like, okay, it's time to make it official. So at the beginning of 2020, started my business under a different name. This was originally branded by Simone. You know, when we first started out, you know,
we love that,
trying to tie your name into everything. But so started off with that, and really started off as really a social media manager. That was my start, and then teaching myself, YouTube University, like all the things, also skills that I learned from like college, and figuring out what I wanted to do when it came down to like logo design, websites, graphics, all the things. And when I started off, I was literally doing all the things. But that's really how I got my start into all of this.
So when you were working at Children's, what skills were you able to pull from that to be able to launch your own business? Because I'm sure you picked up a lot of experience. You said social media, but on the front of being a professional, what did you learn from your experience being at Children's?
Yeah, so it was definitely copywriting, brand graphics, not really graphic design, but picking up on like how the graphic designer kind of formed everything, right? And paying attention to those details. I definitely got some video experience too, because I used to work with the videographer and photographer all the time on different projects. So I got a lot of that behind the scenes work, how to work the camera, different angles, lighting. I learned a bunch about lighting. So I learned a lot of like the fundamental basics when it came down to photography, videography, copywriting, social media graphics. Also getting into like the mind of the audience, and like, and I think that's that branding piece. Like, okay, we're talking to, I mean, Children's National is the hospital for kids. So you're talking to parents. So making sure that the copy is in a certain type of voice and tone. So all of that good stuff is kind of like the foundation that I learned from Children's that I was able to pull over into starting my own business.
Yeah. So when during your experience at Children's, and you're no longer there.
Yeah, no longer there.
So what was the moment like when you decided to leave Children's and go full throttle into your agency and actually putting your agency on?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, at the beginning of 2020, I started it. I left Children's and went full-time entrepreneur in 2021. And it was really just because honestly, because I'm trying to think through like
how you want to say it?
Yeah, not even how I want to say it. It was so much um, it was so much focus on social at the time when the
Oh,
pandemic hit, and it was so much pressure, and we were having to tell them what they should be saying on social, how they should address certain social issues. And that was kind of getting uncomfortable for me. Also, I felt like when I was moving into like having more clients, I was like, okay, do I want to stay here, or do I just want to try full-time entrepreneurship? Like, just try it. And I'm also impulsive. I'm
are
impulsive,
you?
y'all. Girl, what?
I mean,
I
I
will make a
can't.
decision at a drop of a dime and like be going. I was also doing hair. So that's also the thing. So this
Ooh,
wasn't
okay.
my first entrepreneurial journey on brand. I was doing hair. I had a business, Faux Locks and Styles, and I was getting the girls together. And so, in between that and also starting the Branded by Simone at the time, I felt like I was making money, I was like, oh, I can do this thing. So I kind of took the leap. And then, like I said, children's, it was getting a little bit overwhelming for me trying to do all the things at once. So I just kind of took a leap of faith with $5,000, and that's it.
Were you living on your own at that point?
Yes, I was living on my own.
Okay, so you got to take me through that. Like, what did that feel like? Now you have new overhead,
Yeah,
you're living on your own,
yeah.
and you just took this crazy leap of faith in the midst of COVID.
Yes, it was. Well, like I said, I'm impulsive. So, like, I I was scared a little, but not enough to like let it stop me, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna just try. And honestly, I'm like, okay, if I fall flat on my ass, like my parents are here, like I'll be able to lean on them. So, but I'm an only child, and I am very independent in that way where I don't necessarily want to have to lean on my parents for things. So I was kind of determined to make it. I'm like, whatever I got to do, if I got to work myself into the ground, I'm going to do it, right, to make this happen. So I also had a roommate. Shout out to my girl, Lauren.
Okay, we love Lauren.
But she also was like, yeah, girl, do it. Like, it wasn't a lot of pressure. So I just jumped in and made it happen. And honestly, I was doing a lot of work. Like I was taking on a lot of work to make money. And so I was just doing what I had to do to make ends meet. But it was also exhilarating for me because I was like, all right, girl, you out here doing this thing on your own. Like you just got to make it happen. So I was into it.
And how long were you full blown entrepreneur?
So I was full blown entrepreneur for like 2.5 years. And
Wow.
then I was like, okay, I just want to make some extra like steady income. So I went back, got me a 9 to 5. But like I always said that I would go back to having a 9 to 5. It just needed to be something where I could still run my business fully and be comfortable and move around the way I need to.
So you've started your own business. You're fresh into entrepreneurship in this way.
Yeah.
Were there any like hardships or challenges that you faced very early
Oh,
on?
girl, absolutely. I mean, I just told you I started off with like $5,000 saved, right?
Okay.
Ran through that quick. I mean, I had to pay rent, had to live. You know what I'm saying? And there were times where, I mean, first time entrepreneur, you're gonna be broke. So, baby, I had times where I was just rocking out with the few dollars in my bank account. And the thing about being an entrepreneur that young, you're just figuring out things. You're figuring out finances, taxes, and where to put your money, how to set up your business, things like that. So, not always making the best decisions. And so, I definitely found myself in financial struggle. Times where I didn't know necessarily like how to get new clients or, where to turn for different types of support. So, I definitely had those times where I was like, what we gonna do? But
Yeah.
you just gotta kind of power through those moments and YouTube University, Google, figure out some things, be innovative, and kind of figure out how you're going to jump over those hurdles.
Yeah, so I feel like as creatives, sometimes when we do jump into these things,
Mm-hmm.
we do it in an impulsive way,
Yes.
right? And we don't think things through or, we don't understand. I kind of feel like a way that we can kind of avoid certain mistakes, because not all of them can be avoided, is by having a mentor or a
Absolutely.
business coach or someone. Was there anyone in your life that was kind of that person for you outside of possibly your parents?
Yeah. So what's funny about that? I never asked my parents to like help me or guide me in that way. So I actually did get a business coach. I got a business coach, and I don't. To be completely honest, I don't even think she's coaching anymore. Like,
oh wow! 'Cause I was about to say, what's her name?
but at the time, well, her name is Bianca. At the time, I needed somebody to kind of help me set up systems, and that's really what she did. She helped me set up some systems around like client relationship management, and yeah, a little CRM helped me set up that.
Okay, that's how you got your back end together.
Yes.
And for those who don't know what a CRM is, it's like what Honeybook or what Dubsado
Yep,
or any of
exactly.
those. And that's very crucial to running a business.
Absolutely. And so, like I said, I was, kind of doing everything myself. So I didn't have any real systems in place. So she really helped me narrow down one. She also told me to raise my prices, which was gold. But with the systems and raising prices, I was really able to kind of get myself together in that way. And so that was really helpful because you just need some type of structure. And I wish that I could have had some type of business mentor to really walk me through all of the things, because you're so clueless, you're so young, you're throwing things at the wall, hoping it sticks, and everything, like you said, it doesn't stick, and we would rather do it in a more structured way, but most of the time we don't have the community or the mentorship to really guide us in that way. But the Bianca, she did her thing with the setting up the systems. I mean, once I got my systems set up, it was great, and I was able to really give my clients an experience as far as like back end, like Dubsado has like a portal that you can use. So that was nice. Like, oh, you have a little client portal where you can see all your files and your invoices and all that stuff, even down to like how I sent invoices. That was like beautiful to me because you were able to like track things in a certain way, and then it was like a seamless process.
You can see if clients view the invoice.
You can, okay.
Let's talk about it. Did you pay?
So it was really great just having somebody to guide me through that process. And then once I had that set up, it was really just about me and figuring out, okay, what services that I want to offer after I figured out I wanted to raise my prices. Because, when you start off with entrepreneurship, you're overworked, you're underpaid, you're taking on everything, you're burnt out. You know what I'm saying?
16 carriages and all.
I mean, it's like, what are we doing here?
Yes.
So once I was able to kind of get all of that under wraps, it was a little bit more seamless in my process as far as how I served my clients. And I just was in a better headspace.
So at what point did you change your business name to On Brand?
When was that? I don't even... Child, my time,
I know, because as you're telling me the story right now, I'm like, so we met around year 2.
Yes.
And you had launched in like 2020, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't, this is what, your 5th year. You celebrated 5 years of your business.
Yes.
I'm like, dang. So when did On Brand, because I be.
On the brand.
I love adding the. I stay adding the.
That is so funny because on my way over here, I'm like, she gonna say on the brand. I know she gonna say.
I did it. But I did, actually. I just did. I was trying so hard. I love adding the like an old head.
That is hilarious.
But when did you make the switch to On Brand, and what came with that?
Yeah, so my thinking was, okay, so Branded by Simone started off, like, how everybody had, like, Lashes by Taylor, or like, it was always adding your name to it. And I think I was watching a YouTube video, and they're like, you want to grow a business where your name isn't necessarily like attached to it in that way, because when people think about businesses, you think about possibly selling your business or something like that. Mm-hmm. So not necessarily having your name attached to it. So that was my first thought, like, how can I transform the naming of the business where my name isn't attached to it, and then so people can clearly know what you do. Yes, Branded by Simone, okay, that can mean a few things, but what is it in totality? So I came up with On Brand Creative Agency. And my reasoning behind that too was my whole thinking was I wanted to help Black businesses stay on brand, because there were always like, you would have a business name, the logo was looking crazy, the social media didn't match up to what was on the website, things were all over the place. So I'm like, I need to help people stay on brands. Like once they start their business, everything needs to be cohesive, everything needs to look a certain way, feel a certain way. And so that was my thinking behind it, and that's kind of how I came up with On Brand Creative Agency. I want to say I switched over the name. It might have been like top of 2022, to be
Okay.
completely honest. And then I want to switch over like my colors, trying to move away from like your typical, trying to think of a way to say this, but not like no glitter logos, like no like
Something elevated.
something elevated. I wanted an elevated look to what I was presenting to the world. So that's how I got to On Brand Creative Agency.
Yes. And you mentioned it earlier, Quintina
Yes.
has been with you since you started.
Yes.
And when you were branded by Simone
Mm-hmm.
to now. And the reason why I love you so much and I adore the work that you do, and I think the work that you do is so valuable. For one, you are, like you said, helping Black businesses stay on brand.
Yeah.
And we know the disparity that Black businesses do face when they want to they want to be growing. They want to grow like everybody else and have a fighting chance. And the work that you're doing within the community, you naturally are community building.
Yeah.
Because of where you decide to pour your energy. You don't care about the other things, like, having the big clients and all the other things. And I'm not saying that they're small, but you're a community builder. And I think what you're doing is so important. And another piece of that is the relationships that you build. You've been with Quintina since the very beginning, and this is year 5, and she's still one of your clients, and she's growing and she's learning. And I think that is a superpower that you possess.
Thank you.
And so why do you think that having that is also important for creatives to also have? Because sometimes we get so in the weeds of creating the thing, not realizing you actually have to be likable
Absolutely.
to keep and sustain clients along the way. So why do you think that works for you so well?
Yeah.
And I think your client roster is a testament to that. But go ahead.
Yeah, so Quintina, and what you said is so true, right? It's about relationships. It's about being likable, because during that period where I got the business coach, I fired all my clients. So I actually
Wow.
told them, I told Quintina, like, hey, I have to take a break. Like, I have to step back and figure out my business structure and what I want to do. So within this 5 years of me having the business, I worked with Quintina for the first 2. I took a break. And then I came back, and she's like, "Girl, I need you. Like,
She's like, "Can you please
tried
take
to
me
do
back?"
this without you. I need you to come back and help me get my stuff together." So it really does speak to relationships. I mean, most of my clients are Black women or just Black people in general. You got to know how to communicate. I think one big downfall for Black businesses is lack of communication. And so one of the things that we have to do to continue building those relationships is, one, be relatable, but also communicate with your clients or with your customer base. If you're late on something, or if something, just being open and honest, creating that foundation with your clients, I think is really important, because that's, like I said, that's the main downfall. If you're late on things, not communicating, or if you're slacking off, people are more willing to stick with you when you communicate better. And so I really just made that the basis of my relationships, making sure that communication was always clear, making sure that when we talk, I mean, we're professional, but we can still talk like homegirls and get the work done. You know what I'm
Which is
saying?
what I love about you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like we don't have to be so pinned up that it feels horrid or so, hostile. Like, just relax. Like, talk to people like they're human beings. Understand their plight. A lot of what goes into the work that I do is consulting. So my clients are talking to me about what's going on in their everyday lives. Like,
And you do
sometimes
you do branding and marketing for executives. This is not
exactly.
just
Like, these are people that have super professional careers
in the C-suite.
In the C-suite, they have their own clinics. They're doing their own thing. They're running their businesses like bosses. They just need somebody to kind of help them streamline everything. And so like I said, when you're talking to them, making sure that you're personable, making sure that you're relatable. I mean, just talking, being real, being honest. I think that that really takes you a long way. And it's a way that you can do it and still be professional and not have to. I mean, the beautiful thing about working with people who look like you, I don't have to code switch. You know, I can get on a Zoom call and be like, hey, girl, I just took my braids out, so I'm not on Zoom today. I'm not on camera.
We have been on plenty
You
of
know what
calls
I'm saying?
together.
I might turn on the camera and be in the bonnet. You know what I'm saying? No, I only do that with you.
Which I love. I love that. You know, like I really appreciate that too, because sometimes as Black women, we feel like we got to be super buttoned up 25/8.
Yes.
And it's such an added pressure on top of our already stressful job or
Okay.
stressful role of being a freelancer or an entrepreneur. Now I got to show up and I have to, like, you know, cross my T's and dot my I's. And it's like all the things. But I feel like for you, you bring an ease to the situation where the clients feel like they could show up however they want. Because
Right.
I've been on calls with your clients and they show up and they talk however they want to talk.
Yeah.
But it's because you come with the same way. I mean, you still get your work done.
Right.
But you create an ambiance and a space for them to show up authentically because you want to do that. And you don't want to be
Exactly.
nothing but that.
Yeah,
you know?
it's all about safe spaces, right? I mean, we know as we get older and as we experience people more, you feel more comfortable when you're in a space that feels like it's created for you. And I always wanted my clients to feel like you're in a space where I can understand what you're saying. You can tell me things, I can tell you things. It's confidentiality between the two of us, but you can be real about what's going on and we can have real conversations about how to elevate you and take you to the next level. But like I said, still get work done, still be professional.
Yes. Is there, with you working with Black owned businesses, is that on purpose?
Absolutely. Okay. And you know, it's actually funny that you say that. One of my family members made a statement to me one time that like took me back, right? She's like, you know, I noticed on your website that you don't have any diversity. And it's only reflective of Black people. And maybe you should add some white people to your site. Baby, I looked at her and said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because that's on purpose. That's on purpose.
That's who you want to work with.
That's who I want to work with. And it's not that, you know, I would limit myself to the type of people that I'm working with, but that was always my primary focus. Like I said, I wanted to help Black businesses stay on brand. I wanted us to have companies and businesses that leveled up and could compete. You know what I'm saying? I want you to have your lash business, your beauty business, your whatever you're doing to level up. And so that was really important to me from the beginning. And I think that with my energy too, I never want to be in a space where I'm feeling uncomfortable.
And I can only imagine, right, with you being so intentional about that, it's of importance because Black businesses, they face so many different disparities, right? And I've been down this rabbit hole of like venture capital and Black-owned businesses not getting the funding that they need to survive and thrive out here in the world in the same capacity that, you know, white-owned businesses get to thrive. We saw that with Rode and,
Yes.
you know, the acquisition between that and Elf. I feel sometimes Black businesses, they miss out because there's a certain marketing element that is missed in their business and opportunity because of the marketing, because of the branding, and just how it's packaged. Because when I look at Rode, I applaud her for what she did, but her marketing was on point.
Absolutely.
The branding was on point.
Yeah.
That messaging was on point, and all the way down to the product. Like they had a very clear funnel from top to bottom.
Absolutely.
And that's why that acquisition happened. I mean, of course, a little bit of celebrity and all the things
Yeah,
help.
of course.
But when we think about venture capital, I feel that Black-owned businesses, sometimes we miss that mark because we don't have the optics, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's all, I mean, y'all, it's all about optics. You know?
That's what it
It's
is.
all
Marketing
about
is so
optics.
valuable and people don't believe it.
Yeah, yeah, it's all about optics, and we have to make sure that we aren't cutting ourselves short because of us. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, you know, it's hard for entrepreneurs, it's hard for creatives to kind of let go of maybe the original vision that they may have had for themselves and bring somebody like me in to say, okay, maybe this isn't all the way what you need to be doing. We don't have to eliminate the idea, but let's enhance it in a different type of way. And sometimes that's all you need for somebody to help like shift perspective. And really that's what I come in and do. I help shift perspective around branding, around how you should show up, around, what you should be putting out there to the world. And that's really what I take pride in.
Yeah, and how you should dress, because I'll tell you one thing.
Oh my gosh.
Simone.
What are you about to say?
Simone will be on my head about everything.
Oh my gosh.
I love it though. I receive it because you don't catch many people who are honest with you.
Yeah.
But you are one girl that I know. I'm like, Simone, I gotta go here. Can you help me with an outfit? I really wanted to ask you what I should wear today, but I said I'm not gonna stress
Look,
my sister.
Asked you, what are you wearing?
And what did I say?
She said, "Girl, I don't know."
I never know, because these are not things that I think about.
Yeah.
I love fashion,
Yeah.
and I love it, especially when you put that shit on.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. But for me, I just be there's so many different things happening up here.
Yes.
But I appreciate that about you, and the work that you do with your clients, like it comes through. Like, I know one of your clients personally, and the way you've been able to change her brand and put her out there. Shout out to Renee.
Shout out to Renee, girl.
Yes, Renee. Watching her brand show up on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I said, okay, look at my girl doing interviews on LinkedIn and getting 100 likes and engagements and all the things.
Yes.
But that is a testament to what you do. So when you do work with executives, what do you go in with in trying to help them bring out their brand on social media?
Yeah, I mean, working with C-suite executives is interesting because they want to walk a fine line,
Yes.
right? And so you have to find the sweet spot between, okay, we know that you're a professional, but how do we humanize that a little bit? And so I think that with that, you just have to you got to ease it in, first of all, because, of course, they're reluctant because, I mean, C-suite, you have to be careful about image and what you say because people are looking for a reason to snatch things away from
Yeah,
Black
you're like
people.
an extension of the company when you're up in leadership and in the C-suite.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're walking a fine line, but I think that there's always a way to look at things and say, okay, what's important to you? That's also a thing, figuring out what your values are and what you want the world to know you as and what you want people to feel from your brand, and making sure that whatever it is that you're comfortable and that you can stand on that in a professional way. You know what I'm saying? And so really making people, I think it's all about comfortability because people will do more if they're comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. And so making them feel comfortable about, okay, you don't have to go super hard on a certain topic, but you can also share your opinion in a relatable way where people can still feel what you're saying. And so I think it's all about just shifting perspective. I always go in with honesty and saying, listen, you said you wanted to do this. You said you wanted to show up in this way. So, number one, do you or do you not?
Clock it.
Let's talk about that. Do you or do you not? Yeah. And I'm going to be the one that make you stand on that. So we can do it. You don't have to be rah-rah, but let's do it. And let's push the envelope a little bit. I just think it's about, releasing those fears that we all have as entrepreneurs, as creatives, as people that want to make a footprint in the world. You have to let go of some of the fear because in order to elevate to higher heights, you just got to let some of that shit go and take more risks. And they can be calculated risks, which makes people feel better, of course, but still take the risk.
Mm-hmm. So you have since grown, your business is growing.
Yes. Still
might
growing.
I add. It's still growing, but you have, I feel like in the past year and a half, you've reached a new level of growth within your business.
Yeah.
And that, I'm just thinking of an example of how we had to travel to Tampa. I helped you out with some stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
With social media and, doing that front. So how did you get to the point where now your business is expanding to the point where now you got to pay other people to help you get to this stage? And
I really give that to the people that I work with, sharing my name in different spaces. Of course, I have the business social media page and things like that, but most of my clients come from word of mouth, and that's a real testament to the relationships that I've built so far. And I have to say thank you to my clients because if it wasn't for them passing my name on, I wouldn't be offered these opportunities. And that's why it's so important to build relationships with people and, do good work and be a good person, because if you leave good impressions on people, they will bring your name up. I mean, y'all know, it's so many people who want to start businesses and take their business to higher heights. When people think of branding and communications and websites and what they should do, people who know me, they're like, oh, you need to talk to Simone. And I love that, because that just means that I made a video the other day, like I did something right. Like I was able to, be that person that you think of when you think of branding, marketing, communications, and just taking your brand to a new level.
Yes. So top 5 tips that you have for someone who is looking to start their own agency or might be in the middle of their journey with starting an agency. Give me some tips. Top 5
tips. One, I would say narrow down your offerings to the things that you do best. Because once you narrow down those options, you're able to capitalize on that, and then you won't feel like, so at the beginning I told you I was doing any and everything. You won't be doing that. You will narrow down exactly what you need, what offerings you want to give, and hone in on that. Perfect those skills. Once you perfect those skills, then you can really capitalize on that, and then you'll be able to weed out the people that you want to work with and don't want to work with based on your skill set, and then your pricing. So that's number one. You said 5. That's a lot of tips.
Was it a lot? I mean, we can narrow it down.
No, I got you. The second tip is figure out your business structure and your systems. That's really important too. What's the experience that you want to provide to your clients, and make it something that you can really commit to, right? When you overcommit, you're all over the place. So make it something that you could commit to, and something that you can always refine and make better. And I think that's a really good one. 3,
knowing when to scale.
Okay.
Is that one?
That is a great one. Knowing when to scale. And that comes down to raising your prices too, right? So people are going to want to work with you if you're doing good work. But if you raise those prices, you'll be able to weed out the people who are serious and the people who aren't. People who are serious about what they want to do and where they want to take their business, they're willing to invest, and they're willing to invest in the right people. So if you're presenting well, if you have a pricing structure that makes sense, I think that can really take you far too. And if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed or having too many clients, raise your prices again, because it also will help you with your time and how you divide up your time. And then, like I said, you're still weeding out the people that, because you'll have people that say, oh yeah, I can pay, but then they start, being late on invoices and playing around this and that. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
If you can just weed out the people who are serious or not. Another thing is, I would say, find a mentor or somebody, a business mentor. Find a business mentor. You need somebody where you can bounce ideas off of. Especially in this creative agency business, you need somebody where you can kind of offload, because you're taking on so many ideas, opinions, you're talking to people. It's going to feel like people are taking. So you need a business mentor or a therapist. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you need that so that you can stay grounded. Also, I would say, as a business owner, that kind of goes hand in hand with that. Find another outlet so that when you walk away, make sure that, hold on, let me back up. Establish boundaries when it comes to client
Okay, so sounds like we got 6.
Okay, right. I said 5 was too much, and now I'm rambling.
Listen, more coming. Okay.
Establish boundaries. Clients will take until they can't take no more. You have to establish boundaries so that you can have a clear mind, and so that you can serve yourself and you be whole so you can serve others. So those boundaries are so important, and it's okay. Sometimes my clients, I'm sorry, but sometimes.
Sorry in advance.
Sorry in advance. if you texting me super early in the morning, I'm not responding until about 8:45 or 9, because that's just my time where I want to be to myself in the morning. I want to do my morning routine. I want to get myself together, and then I'll hop into the work. I will sit there and look at the text and say, "Okay, I'll respond to that in a few."
Yeah, I don't know what that is about people. I mean, sometimes I do it, but that's because my brain just is moving
But I
fast.
think that's what it is. Like, people
Yeah.
people don't want to lose a thought, right? So they'll send a text, they'll send the email or whatever, not caring about what time it is, but also understand that I'm creating a boundary for myself when I don't respond until 9 or after 9. You know what I'm saying? You still have to have those business hours for yourself and stick to them, because once you start veering off, like I said, people will take advantage because they want your help. And it's not because they're trying to take advantage of you or because, they're doing it maliciously. It's just because, they want work done too. And so just establish those boundaries for yourself so that you can be able to serve others better in the space.
Yes, and I'm so glad you talked about boundaries because that was going to be something that I ask you about because you're so good at being like, "Oh yeah, I don't do anything after 5."
Yeah.
And you're good for it. I don't care. And you even told me on a few fronts.
No, I didn't.
You did. Absolutely.
What I say?
Absolutely. It wasn't in a malicious way or anything. It was like, "Oh no, I don't do that I don't do nothing after 5. Could we find another time?" And I said, "Period."
Yeah,
as you should.
Because, so that's the thing too. When you're working with people who also have 9 to 5s, they can't do
It's so hard.
You can't do that work
so
while
hard,
you're doing your 9 to 5 work. And so most people that they're like, "Oh, I can't meet until 7." Oh, well, I'm not meeting at 7
because my doors are closed,
okay,
baby.
so you got to find a time during the day where you can squeeze it in,
Yeah.
So you have to do that.
Yeah. So outside of, you having your hard stop, how do you maintain your life outside of entrepreneurship? Because you're not just an entrepreneur right now. You also have a full-time job as
Yeah.
well. So you're balancing both. But girl, you are always on a plane going somewhere, having the time of your life.
Listen.
You're out with your family. Like, you make time for that. So how do you do that? And why do you feel that it is so important for you to make time, for things that just allow your brain to rest?
Yeah, I mean, I have had those times where I have, been a 5 a.m. girly, waking up, starting work at 7, doing work all day, taking a break to eat dinner, and then going back to doing work. That's just not a sustainable life. And as we get older, I need my time to relax, to unwind, to do things that I want to do. And also, spending time with people who I love is important to me. And I think that it's some experiences that you can't take back, some time that you can't take back. You just have to make time for those things. So I'm always going to do that. But like you said, I do have a full-time job. Thank God that it's remote. Thank God that it's remote. And it's just flexible where I can have good time management and still do my thing, run my business. I'm able to block off time within my calendar and still make things work for me. And then I'm not afraid to take that PTO, baby. I will take the PTO. I will
that's right.
also, on my personal business, I will turn on my OOO. And if you email me on brand, baby, you might get that OOO message because I'm gone. And I just make sure I tell my clients, hey, I'm going to be out. So, whatever we need to do, let's get it done before then, because when I'm out, they might send an email or two, but my clients are also very respectful. When I tell them I'm out, they know that we've been working hard. They know that we've been doing all the things. They going to give me my time. And so, and as I do the same for them too. So I just think it's about being clear about those boundaries, not being afraid to take the time for yourself. You cannot do good work if you are burnt out, tired, no time, you walking around angry, not taking a vacation. You know what I'm saying? You got to do things for yourself. When you're serving others, you have to do things for yourself so that you can show up and do things well.
Yes, absolutely. And so for you, looking ahead, because you're able to build your business, you're scaling it, and you are on the path of creating those boundaries. It seems like you're in a really good place with your business. So looking ahead, what is on the horizon for On Brand? See, I didn't say that.
Okay, come on now.
I didn't say that. What is on the horizon for On Brand and just for Simone Hunter, just as a person?
Yeah, so I really want to move for the business. I want to move into more events. I want to do some more events.
Ooh,
Yeah, creating spaces. I've been trying to think of ways to create more community around what I do. So I think that doing some events will be really, really nice. I also want to I'm gonna put this out there now. I want to create a content studio.
Yes, which we're so excited for.
Yes. So putting that out there into the world. Don't really have a timeline on that, but that is something that I want to do because I think that is a space that will serve my clients really well. And then, I'm always on the hunt for a content space or, somewhere to shoot. So that is really something that I want to build out. And I have a ton of ideas in my head on how I want to do that. So I'm really excited about bringing that to life in the near future. And then for myself personally, I want to do some more speaking engagements. So thank you for having me here.
Of course,
on the
sister
pod.
Girl. Of course.
But I definitely want to do some more speaking engagements and really connect with people in that way, giving more tips, kind of more guidance. I've been finding myself doing more like social media consulting. And so that's been a really good space for me. And I think that it's a space for me to take that onto like a bigger stage. And so I'm looking forward to expanding in that way.
Yes. Well, my girl, we have made it to the end, but I do like to do a little segment at the end of every show called Claim It. So I'm going to ask you two questions, okay? So, what are you currently claiming for yourself in this season of life, both personally and professionally?
So, I'm claiming more community. More of a creative community. We're here in DC and the creative community is growing. But, my immediate friends, they're off doing their own things and, focusing heavy on their careers that are not necessarily in creative spaces. So I do want to do more building around creative community. So I'm claiming more creative community. I'm claiming more speaking engagements, like I just said. I'm just claiming an overall, healthier lifestyle in every asset, in every space, business, personal. I just want to be whole in every space.
Yes, I love that. And my next one is, if you could encapsulate your mission in one sentence, what would it be?
To elevate small businesses and entrepreneurs in digital spaces and beyond, while also staying on brand and connecting with others.
I love that. That needs to be on your website.
Update
the website tonight, sister. Well, Simone, this has been such a joy, and I'm so happy that people will be able to get to know you and the level of work that you do. I know that you're going to be successful and big in all ways that your little heart desires.
Yes.
And I can't wait for that content studio so I can go and take me some pictures.
Come on.
And take me some video content for social media. I cannot wait, because you've been talking about that content studio for, I feel like, since I met you.
Literally.
Like 4 years ago.
Yes. It's been on my heart.
So it'll come. It'll come to fruition. But other than that, thank you all for watching another episode of No Holding Back. Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.